Seeing the forest, not just the tree in front of us. When negative self talk says we're quote unquote late. When negative self talk creeps in, it often tells us one thing, that we're late. Late to success, late to clarity, late to purpose. But what if that voice is coming from staring at one tree, the one tree in front of us, whatever we're doing in that moment, at that time, whatever season of life we're in, instead of stepping back far enough to see the forest? Because a single moment never tells the full story. It is a lie from the enemy. And sometimes that enemy can be people, places, or things, our PPT from the previous episode. And becoming was never meant to happen on a stopwatch. Let's widen this lens. Hey y'all, I'm Madison Simone Chase, also known as Miss Chase, and I was raised by an incredible single mom who is my biggest fan and my best friend forever for real. I'm also a celebrity certified personal trainer, fitness and wellness expert, and sports and entertainment media host. I was born in Fort Worth, Texas, raised in Dallas, built in Los Angeles. I trained at Juilliard School of American Ballet, becoming the world's only three-time ESPN Miss Fitness champion, appearing in more than 450 fitness DVDs. The first of the 450 was led by celebrity trainer, the GOAT Gunnar Peterson, who's known for training the Kardashian family. As a celebrity trainer, personal trainer myself, some of my most notable clients include Robert Pattinson of Twilight and Batman, Chris Tucker of Rush Hour, Amber Riley of Glee. And as a sports and entertainment media host, some of my favorite red carpet moments include chatting with Richard Branson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Emma Stone, Viola Davis, Tyler Perry, and Tiana Taylor, and Justin Baldoni, and Issa Rae, to name a few. I share my accomplishments to honor the millions of sacrifices my mom planted so that I could blossom and flourish into the woman I am still becoming. So if you're listening and or watching, pull up a digital chair, grab yourself a cup of hot or cold herbal tea, and welcome to my cozy home of Cut to the Chase at 8, a 15-minute micro learning moment for macro living. And I am so overjoyed that you are here, because this is where we explore and lean into life with our lived experiences, yours and mine, where we invite lots of grace in this space because we are living in some interesting times. We chat all about spirit, mind, and body health that is ultimately our wealth in micro doses for macro living. Make sure you join me twice daily for just 15 minutes at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And because I am traveling, some of these episodes may be a little bit later than 8 a.m. just because I'm on an earlier time zone. So bear with me because this is your 15-minute chance for your daily pause for a cause, for clarity, for wellness, grace, and intentional decision making. Giving yourself grace, because how we start our day and how we end it matters. Each episode, my offer to you is 3 keys and 1 question. Hopefully, 1 question that you'll sit with, and hopefully it will encourage you to give yourself grace in this space with something practical, something grounded, and something you could carry with you. So wherever you're listening from, turn it up, tune in, and if anything you hear today pricks your heart or lights a spark, I'd love for you to subscribe. Share this with someone you care about, and please leave a 5-star rating. And I am so thankful so many of you have left me voice memos that will start to be included in a lot of these episodes. So thank you for the encouraging words and the feedback. I really appreciate it. So now let's take a breath together. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's lean into today's episode of Cut to the Chase at 8. Let's cut the noise. Let's get clear. Let's get ready, set, go, and grow and be great. We are settled in, and wherever you're listening from right now, if you're driving, walking, working out, resting, working from home, being a caretaker, being a mom, a brother, a sister, a dad, a mom, a cousin, an auntie, let's allow this moment to be a soft place to land. Because today's conversation is about something many of us wrestle with quietly and silently. That inner voice that says we're behind, that voice that compares timelines, that voice that edits our story down to one chapter. And I like to say, we sometimes put a period, or we allow other people to put a period where there's a comma. That voice that convinces us one moment defines everything. And that could be that PPT that we talked about in the previous episode. People, places, or things, PPT. But a tree never tells the full story of a forest. Which brings me to key number one. Negative self talk comes from a narrow lens. Negative self talk often isn't cruel, it's incomplete. And sometimes it is cruel. It's cruel to ourselves, and it's crueler when we allow other people to talk negatively about us as well. It zooms in on one missed opportunity, one delayed milestone, one season of uncertainty, and it ignores everything else that's been growing quietly underneath and building roots into the ground. Because roots don't announce themselves. Preparation doesn't post updates. Development rarely looks impressive while it's happening. But the forest is still forming. For example, let's talk about Vera Wang. Reinvention is not failure. Key number one is negative self talk comes from a narrow lens, and we're going to look at Vera Wang. Vera Wang didn't begin as a fashion designer. Her first dream was figure skating. She used her artistry with her body and on the ice. And when she didn't make the Olympic team, she pivoted, not into fame, but into learning. She became a fashion editor. She studied craftsmanship. She learned the industry from the inside. And it wasn't until her 40s when she couldn't find a wedding dress. Again, she got married in her 40s. She couldn't find a wedding dress that reflected who she was or how she wanted to feel coming down the aisle. So she designed one for herself. Go, Vera. What the world celebrates as an empire was not her first act, it was her second career. And that's not being behind, that's becoming. Which brings us to key number two. Layers create staying power. Quick success often looks impressive. Layered success lasts. And we're going to share and talk about Martha Stewart. A life built in layers. Before Martha Stewart became a household name, she lived many lives. She was a model, she was a stockbroker, a caterer, a builder of skill and taste. Her visibility and influence didn't peak until her late 40s and 50s. Everything she's known for was built on layers, and layers take time, not delay. And that's not delay, that's depth. Which brings me to key number three. Arriving in season is not arriving late. This is where the forest becomes undeniable. And we're going to talk about one of my favorite people in the world who I had a chance to meet, and I'm going to share that story in this example as well. Viola Davis. Endurance, alignment, and reaching back. Viola Davis has spoken openly about her struggles and scarcity and rejection in her book. If you haven't checked it out, check out Viola Davis's book. She didn't come from access, she came from survival. She trained rigorously. She graduated from Juilliard as an actress. She committed to learning her craft long before recognition followed. Her most celebrated roles came later. Her sense of alignment came after endurance. She married the love of her life later. She became a mother later. And there's a difference between later and late. And those two things, it's two different words, right? She built family and stability in season and not on anyone else's timeline. And one of the most powerful parts of her story is this: she reached back. Viola Davis and her husband played a meaningful role in mentoring Edwina Findlay, guiding her not just in her career, but in navigating the industry with integrity and grounding. That kind of mentorship doesn't come from rushing. It comes from someone who is secure in what they have and where they're growing, and secure in their past and not allowing their past to be a past of shame, but someone who understands the cost of becoming. And success that reaches back tells us something important. The forest matters from the forest matters more than the spotlight. And my lived experience with Viola Davis and knowing her, and I saw a lot of myself in her. I was getting ready to interview her for the help. And before the interview started, she said, "Your name is Madison Chase because before you tape for a press junket, you introduce yourself." And so I was interviewing Viola Davis and Emma Stone. And before the interview started, she says, "Your name is Madison?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Madison Chase?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "You're Madison Chase from Gunnar Peterson's Core Secret DVDs." And I was like, "Yeah." Now, mind you, I'm a huge fan of Viola Davis, and I'm not a fan of many people. But when I understood Davis's story, with Edwina Finley, I was like, man, I love when women are so secure that they're willing to help, and I am that person. So it was nice to get it from someone else. So Viola said, "I'm gonna tell my husband that I met you." I said, "Viola, you gonna tell your husband you met me?" I was like, "I'm gonna tell this story a million times." So this is a million and one times of me sharing my moment of just how I often pour into women that I don't know. And I offer my resources often, but I'm learning to not everyone deserves my resources or my time or my spirit or the people that I choose to connect them to. Not everyone deserves it. So let's bring this all together. Negative self talk says we're late, but the forest tells a different story. Sometimes what feels like delay is development, and sometimes what feels like silence is preparation, and sometimes what feels like being centered and alone and in a space where you can't physically get out. Sometimes that is preparation as well. And sometimes what feels like being behind is actually being protected. So trees grow at different rates, and forest grows in seasons. And roots don't rush. And we could talk about the mustard seed, and the biggest trees are produced by the smallest seed sometimes. So, my one question to reflect on: where in your life, in my life, might we be judging ourselves by one tree instead of honoring the full forest of growth that's already unfolding? And getting those roots are so important. I love trees, and my mom does too. I think we look at trees and I see all of the roots and I see the history. And so I want you to sit with that and maybe go explore trees. So before you go, I just want to say thank you from the bottom and top of my heart. It's truly been an honor and a pleasure sharing this time with you. And thank you for continuing to give yourself grace in this space, even if it's just 15 minutes with me today. I'm so genuinely thankful that you chose to step into this cozy digital home with me. So before you head out, let's quickly revisit our three keys and one question for today's episode. Key number one: negative self talk often comes from a narrow lens and just looking at that one tree and that one branch. And key number two: layered lives create lasting impact. Key number three: arriving in season is not arriving late. So if today's episode offered you insight or even a pause for a cause you didn't know you needed, if there's anything that I've shared today that pricks your heart or lights a spark, I'd love for you to subscribe, share this with someone you care about, and also leave a comment. And I'd love to hear your feedback so that this isn't a monologue, but a dialogue. And leave a 5-star rating because it helps this space to grow and reach others. So thank you for joining me here twice a day for our daily 15-minute microdose for macro living. Now let's close with one breath. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. and again at 8 p.m. Central, because this is Cut to the Chase at 8 with me, Madison Simone Chase. Start and end your day with intention and grace. It's Cut to the Chase at 8. And you're ready and you're set and we're growing and let's go and let's be great and let's be clear and let's be great. Blessings to you and yours. Until tomorrow.